Good to see everybody again. Thanks for coming out and covering us. Just wrapping up the Tulsa game. First off, really proud of our effort. Thought our guys were excited to play. Played with great effort. Thought the enthusiasm, the emotion, all those things that you want in game one was there. Defensively, played very solid. Really limited the running alleys. Tackled well. The job that we did limiting explosive plays I thought was a real key, and that going into the game was a concern, and we certainly handled that challenge well. Offensively, I was very excited about our red zone production. We were 5 of 5 in the red zone. Almost had the ball for almost 39 minutes. Clearly won the time of possession. I think it took us a little bit to get going, but really had a strong second half, and our special teams were outstanding. We hit the field goals, the punts we had inside the 10-yard line. Our kickoff coverage was solid. The punt return for a touchdown. The stopping of the fake punt. Those are all big-time, game-changing plays, and our special teams really played well. So hopefully that's a standard that we can continue to live up to, and that would certainly help us. I said earlier in the week, I don't think the score was indicative of how close the game was. You look at the game at the end, and it's 34-7. It looks like a blowout. But you go back and watch the film, and a lot of things in that game were very even. They missed 2 field goals. They fumbled the ball on the 2-yard line going in. They faked a punt inside their 10-yard line. They fumbled a punt inside their 10. The accumulation of all those things, if you add them up, is 27 points, and that's the margin of the game. So again, but we made those plays, and it was a good win. So now we move on, and I told our players after the game, whether we won the Tulsa game or lost the Tulsa game, this game is more important in terms of what our goals are. So this is a huge game. This is a MAC East game. It's against the defending MAC East champs. Ken is a very good football team. They were 8-0 in the conference a year ago. They're very explosive on offense. They certainly have big-time playmakers on that side of the ball. Defensively, they're very good. I think Roosevelt Nix is as fine a defensive lineman that we've faced in the conference. It seems like he's been there forever. He is a really, really good player. Plays with a high motor, very athletic, physical. He's a first-team all-conference player. And again, they've got really solid special teams. So this is going to be a good challenge for us. We're on the road. They have a new head coach, and I think their team is playing very hard for him. So they will be, I'm sure, well prepared, and this will be a great MAC East game Saturday up at Dick Stadium. All right, thanks.
Will you talk a little bit about dealing with a situation like Archers, not knowing if you're going to see them or not? How does that affect how you prepare?
Yeah, I think we're prepared to play with them. They know what's at stake at this game, and I'm sure if they could have them healthy for 1 week in the next 3, it's going to be this game. So we've got to prepare for them. I'd be very surprised if he's not out there in practice, before the game running around. And then, it's like a lot of our players, though. It's day to day. We have guys that, right now they're necked. We're hoping they can go. We'll give them every opportunity to play. And if they can go, they'll go. And if they can't, then we'll have to adjust.
Second week in a row that you're playing a team that's really seems to be ground heavy, but I assume that you see them as a different kind of a rushing team than Tulsa.
Well, I think that their new quarterback, Reardon, I think he's brought a lot of energy to their offense. I think they're willing to throw the ball more with him than they were in the past. We've always had respect for their wideouts. I think Good and Humphrey, if those guys were in passing offenses, would be dynamic playmakers that you'd be talking a lot about. And it just so happens that, with their tailback situation, obviously they have a Heisman candidate, and Durham is an absolute beast. He's a big-time back. That says, if you talk about a change of pace, Kent has it as good as anybody in the conference with those two. And again, I think they've got good skill. So a year ago they didn't utilize that skill on the perimeter very much because of the 2 other guys they had. But with their new quarterback, I think they're willing to throw it more. And those guys are good players. We have a lot of respect for their skill.
You guys got some national recognition this week, 9 votes in the top 25 poll. Is that something you look at, care about, notice?
You know, there's a process, and I'm going to bore you with this one. This won't be your soundbite.
It is now.
There's a process, and you get your team ready every day, and you have good practice, and then you get ready for the game. And if going through that process successfully, if these things happen, is a great byproduct. But we don't talk about it, because the second you talk about those things, you lose the focus on what's important. So yeah, we want to be a ranked football team. You know, we want to be a top 25, then a top 20, and we want all those things to happen for our program. But those things don't happen unless we win on the football field. So after one game, I mean, we're not raising a banner saying, hey, we got votes. You know, our goals are to win the MAC and to get to Detroit. And in order for that to happen, we have to take care of business this week. And if it doesn't happen, we won't get to Detroit and we won't be ranked. So yes, we want that to happen, but we don't talk about it.
That's like a pretty good bite.
Was it? You gonna play the whole thing?
I'll play it for
No, you won't. You won't play the whole thing.
How
dare
important
you.
what do you hope to get from the first road trip of the season?
A win.
Obviously, but I mean, how important is that first road
Well,
trip?
I mean, this is a different team, just in terms of our experience. And you know, I think a lot of times when you have a young team and you go on the road, you know, you're worried that they take it like a field trip. And you know, I think our guys, most of the guys we're playing with, have been on a lot of these trips. And you know, we always say when we go on the road, you know, all the organization and discipline and focus of the program goes with us on the buses to the hotel. And there's teams that you worry about that with. I'm not worried about that with this team. We have an experienced group, and I think they know how to handle their business in terms of, you know, a road trip. But, you know, Kent in and of itself with their personnel and their schemes is enough of a challenge without worrying about anything extracurricular.
With that said, same thing along the lines of, that was a pretty convincing win, obviously. You're not concerned at all with this team, you know, buying into that. Wow, we did pretty good.
No, I think a little bit is because of where we've come from. A lot of the guys that right now are our best football players, their first year that they played, we were 2-10. So they either played that year or redshirted. So I think sometimes when you come into a program and all you do is win, there's a tendency to take it for granted. I think what's really fun about coaching this group is they appreciate wins like that, because we've certainly been on the other side of some of those wins when they started their career. And we've been in games that we've played with people physically, but we dropped the punt, we missed the field goal, we fumbled inside the 10, and all those things cost us games. And you know, it's hard to win a game. It really is. It's a lot of work, a lot of preparation goes into it, and I think our guys, you know, obviously they enjoy that feeling, but they also know that, you know, we said earlier in the week that if, you know, if you're reflecting on what you did yesterday, you must have not done much today. And so it's just the nature of football. I mean, you got to get ready for the next one, and our guys get that.
And most of the time you play a few non-conference, then you open up in the MAC. You're opening up early, and it's a game that really could dictate who goes to Detroit a few months down. I mean, I'm curious your thought on playing something like this right away.
Well, again, I think as a coach, you'd always rather play your conference games later in the year. I think, you know, you always say that, you know, if you have confidence in the job you're doing, your team's going to get better as the season goes along. And I've said this before, there's a financial reality in this league that we have to play games for money. And when Mississippi State offered us a lot of money to play a game in October, and we took that game on, we knew we were going to have a MAC game early. So it is what it is. We had that game scheduled. When we did that, we knew we were going to play a game early, and we knew it was going to be a MAC game, and that's the schedule. So, and for Kent too. So they have a MAC game early. So we both have the same circumstances, and it's you know, it's on the schedule, and we got to play it, and we're good with it. We understand that.
First quarterbacks go again, or a similar thing, or we'll see both.
No, well, right now Matt Johnson's going to start the game. You know, we haven't talked about having any plan to put Matt Shills in there, but Matt Shills has practiced really well this week, and we've got confidence in Matt Shills. And you know, again, Matt Johnson's going to start, but I'm really proud of Matt Shills. I think if you're somebody in his position, that, you know, you've been the starter and now you're not starting for the first time, I think it would be very natural and normal to hang your head and woe is me, and really a credit to him. He's had a good week of practice. He's been positive out there, and I can't say it enough. I mean, he's a really good kid, and he loves football and he loves Bowling Green, and I'm confident he's going to prepare himself that if he has to play, he's ready.
Did you give Matt, when Matt earned the job, Matt Schultz earned the job as starting quarterback for the first week, did you give him kind of a caveat, you're on a tight leash, or?
There was no tight leash. I said, you've earned the job, but we're going to play Matt Johnson.
But now he's not starting.
I told Matt Shields that he was the starter for the first game. We're going to start the Tulsa game. Matt Johnson has earned the right to play. And again, Matt got in there on the third series, and I thought he sparked our football team. And there was talk that we were going to put Matt Shields back in the second half, and then Matt Johnson led us on the drive at the end of the half, and then he led us on the drive to start the second half. And at that point, I just said, hey, it's his game. And he played well. So again, some people think that the quarterback competition was a motivational play. It wasn't. Those two were back and forth, back and forth. There were times during camp that if we had to announce a starter on a certain day, it probably would have been Matt Johnson. And at the end, Matt Shields got him by a nose, but we had every intention to play Matt Johnson. And he played well, and he played well enough last Thursday that he deserves to start this week.
I think he has what it takes to hold that job for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, again, you always put guys in hoping they're going to succeed. Yes, I hope Matt Johnson goes out there and plays great, and I certainly think he has the ability to do that. And I don't want to be answering these questions every week, but you can't just make a decision for the convenience of making it. I mean, I don't think any coach in the country wants to be juggling quarterbacks. But it's like it's different than other positions in that it's the leader of the offense, but it's like other positions that whoever's playing best should play. It's not fair to play one guy over another just because it makes it convenient for you as the coach. So we're going to continue to evaluate it. We're going to play the player that gives us the best chance to win. Going into the Tulsa game, we thought that was Matt Shields as a starter. Once we put Matt Johnson in, we thought our best chance to win the game was keeping him in there. And he'll start this week. And we'll play it out from there.
When did you inform them? When did you inform them of the change?
We played Thursday, the game off Friday. We told them Saturday. Those two kids are both, I can't say enough, they're really, really good kids. They're competitors. They love football. They work hard at it. And, it's just the nature of quarterback. I think at tailback, you can roll 3 or 4 guys in there, and quarterback, there's one. So, we don't have an offensive system that we can play 2 guys at the same time.
Good?
Held off that one till the end, huh?